And the floor is yours if you like to share your screen or so.
Sure, it says you cannot share the screen while other participants share.
Yeah, I think Wilfried or Philip, you need to stop sharing.
Okay. Just wait for them to unshare. I wasn't sure who was the last one to share. Wilfried or...
I think I'm still sharing, but I'm still looking for my button.
Oh, how to unshare.
I think I did it now.
Yes, yes.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Okay, now I have to remember how to share on my side. Okay, I'll share everything I can. And okay, hopefully you guys see everything. Maybe I'm going to hide this stuff. And yeah, so hi everyone. My name's Gurce Isikyildiz, and I just want to talk today about a game I wrote for the Mega65 called Battle Sparrow. And I think the main interest here is that it was written purely in BASIC65 as an example of trying to make a 2D shooter there. So a little bit about me. First, I thought I'd play some background music. Initially, I thought I'd use an MP3, but then I thought maybe this is a good chance to actually use the Mega65 to play the background music itself. And yeah, so this was just a basic program. And you can see all the strings are just defining different notes in the melody and in the bass line. And at the end, I'm just playing various strings. And so there you go, I've got some background. Hopefully you're getting that. Maybe I'll drop the volume down. So hopefully that sound's going through. I hope.
Yes, we can hear it.
Good, okay. I was born in Australia in 1978. That's a picture of me. And Dad bought my Commodore 64 back in 1986. And he went to Walton's department store, which is bankrupt now, it doesn't exist anymore in Sydney. And he traded in his pocket calculator and got a $100 discount on the Commodore 64 because they had a trade-in offer if you have an old computer. Somehow he managed to convince the salesman that this pocket calculator was a computer too because it had a CPU inside it. And the salesman bought it. Anyway, I've loved my Commodore 64 ever since. Had a great time with it, programming, music, and doing assignments and all that sort of thing. So how I got involved with the Mega 65? My dad became terminally ill in 2016, and this forced me to join Facebook to get in touch with relatives overseas. And Facebook happened to auto-suggest that I might be interested in the Mega 65 project, and yes, I was interested in the Mega 65 project. But why was I interested? For me, it was to experience what might have been. Like in 1994, like the bankruptcy of Commodore really hit Dad and me very hard. Like we were very loyal and passionate about our Commodore 64. We've been with it for about a decade, and so it was very emotionally and mentally difficult for us to migrate to the PC world. And so this is my fond memories of the 1980s and moving into very painful memories in the 90s. All these IRQ conflicts and DMA conflicts. I found it a world of hell personally. So not very fond memories. So I always feel like if I could go back into the 90s and just restore things and make things happier for me as a Commodore 64 person. And for me, Mega 65 is the machine that is that time machine experience I've been looking for. So get rid of all these painful memories I have of those eras and replace them with something pleasant where I'll be much happier. And so upon learning about this Mega 65 project, open source, volunteers can do whatever they want to help. Yeah, I'd chipped in over the years, some bug fixing, some tooling. There was a Mega 65 remote debugger I wrote. There was an existing FTP tool, which I helped to stabilize for Windows and Mac and added some improvements on top of it. Some other interesting improvements were at the time, the long file name support added into the FTP tool for your SD cards. And also more fun for me was the play command inside BASIC to make that non-blocking and so that you could have music playing in the background of your games. Also worked on the documentation, manual contributions, and some proofreading as well. And yeah, if you're interested in reading our manuals, they're all freely available online. That's the URL you need to grab them. But yeah, after years of doing these sort of contributions in my spare time, I thought, where to next? And I've honestly been itching to have fun with the machine because all this behind the under the bonnet work is, you don't have that sort of fun with it. But all the same, if you're jumping the Mega 65, if you have a chance to help out with that under the bonnet stuff, please lend a hand wherever you can, and definitely have your fun too. But whenever you can report bugs or make bug fixes, GitHub pull requests, they're always welcome. And same with documentation improvement. You see an issue with the documentation, you're welcome to raise it or fix it. And also support others in their journey. We've got a lot of people on Discord and forums that are answering questions and making YouTube walkthroughs, and that's been wonderful for our community. We've got a very considerate and helpful community. Anyway, I'm in the mood for fun now these days. Why make a BASIC65 game? I've got limited spare time, working, married, 3-year-old daughter now, so life is a bit hectic. And I thought BASIC65 is a good fit for me. And sure, I won't get all those low-level speed wins of pure assembly, but I'm going to get that time-saving win of working at a higher-level language. And I also want to showcase what BASIC65 is capable of. So why make Battle Sparrow? I had a few simple BASIC65 games I made prior to this. One was Momo, so I can demonstrate that now. Just stop the play music and you can load Momo. And this was a simple game I made for my daughter at the time. It was just to help her learn how to press the numbers 1, 2, 3 on the keyboard. So yeah, very simple. I'll just stop the music there. You can see it's purely 100% assembly. So already you're seeing things that you normally wouldn't see in a Commodore 64 basic game, some background music, some, well, fairly good frame rate for simple animations and such. The second game was a game called Poopy, which I intended to be a sort of Popeye clone, but I never really had the time to finish it off. I drew a simple Popeye character in Petsky, and so some nice music in the background. And again, this here your Popeye character, avoid the dog poo and try and collect the love hearts from the cat. But yeah, very simple. And again, it's all pure basic. So it's yeah. This time around, I just wanted to push myself a little harder after those efforts, but not too hard. So I thought about, what about like a Warhawk-like 2D shooter game? And something, again, that would have been impossible to do back in the C64 basic version 2, 1 megahertz. And it also showcased the sort of fun you could have with the play command as well. I had fun with those prior games as well. So yeah, time just to give you a little preview of what Battle Sparrow is like. Maybe I can just restart this for a sec. And Battle Sparrow. And there it is. I might have to switch to input to go to the cursor keys as joystick. I'll just run that. Okay, so you've got some nice background music there. You've got some scrolly sort of animated text with a bit of a sine wave in there. You've got this star field going on in the background. So already there's a lot of activity for a basic game. I can sort of load up the level. Moving your character, the star fields there. There's a sort of map coming into view. And there'll be some baddies coming on the screen. Shoot at the turrets. Shoot your baddies.
We don't hear you.
Yeah,
the volume is too high.
Okay. Does that help? If I turn it down that way? You still hear me? That's alright. Maybe I just, that's all right. Maybe I'll just stop it. Because, anyway, I think you get the gist of it, really.
Yeah, we could, at least I couldn't hear the volume of the game was too high. So
sorry about that.
I could hear that you were mentioning something in the background, but
yeah,
could not, at least I could hear it.
That's all right. I mean, just you saw there was a lot happening for a basic game. There was a star field animating in the background. We had sort of moving title text, you know, with a sinusoidal pattern, not the sort of typical things you see in a Commodore 64 basic game. And you had some very nice background music as well. Some of the stats on the sort of effort involved to make something like that. I coded this across several evenings over 2 weeks or so. And it's 650 lines of code, about 200 for game logic, about 150 for the Petsky graphics, 100 for the drawing routines of those Petsky graphics, 50 lines of music code, 40 lines of initializing variables, and 25 lines for the title screen. So yeah, it's not a huge chunk of work there. Why did I choose Petsky art? Like simple graphics like that, because again, I've got limited spare time. It was nice to draw the artwork I needed for myself. And I also feel personally that Petsky art has a very beautiful aesthetic of its own. It's very minimalist. I kind of equate it to, you know, Neanderthal man drawing paintings with primitive tools onto cave walls or something like that. So it's very unique. Yes, it's very unique to Commodore itself. Only Commodore has Commodore Petsky characters. So whenever we see them, we always know it's from a sort of Commodore system. And yeah, I also want to inspire others like me with limited time that, you know, when you look at my sort of crappy Petsky graphics here, yeah, so, you know, that's all you need to make a game in BASIC65, really. And I wanted you to look at this and think, yeah, I could draw something like that too. And I'm sure you could. And I'm sure you could even push yourself even harder than me. I mean, this is as hard as I pushed trying to draw a Petsky Sparrow. I'm pretty proud of myself as pushing myself harder. And yeah, I personally have strong childhood memories of doodling in Petsky art. Like these are my day one memories of owning a Commodore 64 or first week memories, you know, learning how to use the keyboard, learning how to switch colors. And I always found that a lot of fun as a kid. And I imagine if kids of the modern age had the chance to see how easy it was to switch colors, put characters onto the screen, it's a different flavor of fun that I'm sure even they haven't experienced before. And also on the Mega 65, you've got more colors to play with now as well. You've got those original 16 colors from the keyboard, which I'm showing here. And also we've got 16 new colors, and you can switch between them with Control D for the defaults and Control A with the alternates, which you can see there. The community gave lots of funky names for these new colors as well, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, and was the music done in BASIC? Some people don't believe the music was done in BASIC, but yeah, yes, it was. It was pure the play command in BASIC. And just a sort of a quick overview of that, the play command is now non-blocking, so you can play 6 channels of polyphony at your disposal. That's bearing in mind that the Mega 65 has 4 SID chips emulated in the FPGA. So the 2 of them, SID1 and SID3, are used to create these 6 channels. And that music will play in the background of your game, which is nice and handy. And also BASIC65 sound command is also non-blocking. That command is usually used for sound effects. And you also have 6 channels of sound effects at your disposal too. And again, those are on 2 separate SIDs as well that aren't going to sort of interfere with those music SIDs too. And keep in mind, this arrangement is just for BASIC65. Like if you're an assembly coder that wants to code like 12 channels of music, yeah, you definitely, sorry, not, yeah, 12 channels. You can definitely do that in assembly, but BASIC is hard coded for 6 channels play and 6 channels for sound effects. And so an example of that, I can load this one up. Load music and sound effects. I'll run that. And this one will play 6 channels of music on the first 2 SIDs. And I can press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the keyboard to play some sound effects. Anyway, you get the idea behind that. So yeah, there's no blocking. Like in 64 days, you know, some games you'd play a sound effect and 1 channel of the music would cut off. But yeah, in this era, that's not a problem anymore. I've kind of let go of the project. I had fun and probably not much time left. But if I was to come back to it, I'd consider maybe using 80 by 50 character mode. That might be fun. Put more characters on the screen. And maybe that might add some bottlenecks too. That might be too much payload for BASIC to handle. There might be some assembly routines needed to speed things up there. And also it might be fun one day to have some 4-player action. I recently built one of the hacks that Paul devised to get these sort of Protovision compatible DB9 ports that you sort of plug in 2 extra joysticks. So I've tried these out with Dr. Wuro's 4-player games. They work fine there. But yeah, it might be a crazy idea to add like a 4-player 2D shooter one day. But yeah, but for anyone else that's interested in dabbling with the Mega 65, just some recommendations. You can give the Zemu emulator a try. That's available at this path. And sourcing the Mega 65 ROM for that emulator can be a bit tricky due to the licensing issues. But if you can source yourself a 65 ROM, you might find one on the internet. I didn't say that. You could patch it to become a Mega 65 ROM. And RetroCombs has some nice walkthrough videos with some advice on installing the emulator on macOS, Chromebook. And for Windows, it's similar. I think you can sort of gauge the steps from those earlier videos. And he's also got a video on how to patch that C65 ROM and turn it into a Mega 65 ROM. And also, you're welcome to browse that free PDF manual, which is about 1,200 pages now. So it's got a lot of detail at any level you like. And that's the URL for that. And you're also welcome to have a chat and ask questions on Forum 64 if you're more of a forum person, or if you like that live chat, you're welcome to join Discord as well. Anyway, that's all I've got to share, so enjoy it.
Thanks a lot. That was really a nice presentation. I think you said you had fun writing this game. I had fun watching this demo, and this pool, avoid the dog pool.
Oh, the dog poo.
I was not expecting that today, but I will look for it on itch.io. I don't know.
It's probably, yeah, it was a bit of fun. Probably a bit cheeky, but yeah, it was fun.
I don't know if there are any questions. Let's see. I enjoy your presentation. Thank you very much. Okay, I don't. I see many comments. Cool presentation. Yeah, the music. That's indeed really nice. And I think indeed the Mega 65 is really a nice platform for writing games. This BASIC65 is really a good combination of BASIC and let's say, well, they introduced new functions in there that make it very easy to build something quite quickly compared to the version 2 or version 7. Yeah, I think there could be in the future a community of developers building more for the 65. Especially that this Xemu emulator is available.
Hope so.
Yeah. I don't know if there are any questions. Please ask it now. Apparently not. I will just stop then